Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are St. Louis.
The homestand comes to a close tonight. It's seen the Cardinals sweep the Phillies last weekend and a complete game shutout for Carlos Martinez. The Brewers then rolled into St. Louis. Game 1 featured a pair of home runs from Jose Martinez. The next 2 games, it's been all Milwaukee. What's in store for game number 4? It's next on Fox Sports Midwest. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball on the banks of the Mississippi. A gorgeous night here at Busch Stadium. Game number 4, the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. And along with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well. It's a pair of right-handers here tonight. Zach Davies for Milwaukee, pitching very well as of late, and Michael Wacha going for the St. Louis Cardinals. What stands out, what we're going to take a look at, is 2 pitchers with very good changeups.
And it's rare for right-handers to face one another and feature changeups like Michael Wacha does. Michael sells it better than Zach Davies because he's a harder thrower. There's that changeup, and whenever that ring finger becomes involved, then hitters know that the changeup is coming, but it's too late. Zach Davies doesn't throw it as often as Michael Wacha, but it's very, very effective. He's 7-3 on the year.
So Zach Davies, Michael Wacha, the Cards and the Brewers. It's game number 4. First pitch, starting lineups coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. Series against the NL Central leader Milwaukee Brewers, as we take a look at our Kia in the driver's seat. The top of the lineup doing some damage. In particular, Matt Carpenter and Dexter Fowler. We'll throw in Aledmys Diaz in there as well. Home run, battling the rain late last night in game number 3. Carpenter, Fowler, Diaz, and that's a look at your Kia in the driver's seat. Michael Wacha trying to pick up win number 4 here tonight. It's Wacha and Zach Davies. First pitch, starting lineups. It's next. Tonight, he's facing Zach Davies for the second time this year. Those pitchers met back on May 1st, and the Brewers won that ball game 7-5. As Wacha is coming off a victory over the weekend against the Philadelphia Phillies. Eric Sogard will lead it off, followed by Eric Thames and Domingo Santana. Then Travis Shaw, Hernan Perez, Jeff Bandy, Keon Broxton, Orlando Arcia, and the pitcher Zach Davies. Numbers on Michael Wacha so far this year, trying to become a 4-game winner. He's at 500. We'll see if he can't get number 4 tonight.
Dan, we saw what a great job Bill Finley did with the field last night and allowing both teams to finish that game. The Cardinals lost 7-6. But Bill Finley has also done a great job on that mound for Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha loves pitching off this mound. He's 3-1 in 7 starts this year with an earned run average under 3.
There's a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal, the fastball and changeup. We talk about it so much. Incorporating the curve a little bit more often here recently. And so Sogard leads it off. And he's batting .354 with 3 home runs, and he's driven in 14. The 3 o'clock starts. Once you hit the 7th or 8th inning, very tough on a right fielder. The 6 o'clock starts, very tough on the right fielder.
You bet.
And the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball that's pulled foul. 0-2 the count. It's almost automatic that a player hits a ball foul. And in this case, Carpenter didn't throw it out. He threw it back to Michael Wacha. And I'm sure it's instinct, but he doesn't even keep the baseball and rolls it on back out. New baseballs that they go through, 40 to 50 on average in a Major League Baseball game.
It used to be first and third base coaches used to try their best to keep a ball into play or throw a ball out immediately so the pitcher wouldn't continue to use the same ball.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's pulled foul.
First curve of the night for Wacha.
Before his win over the weekend against the Phillies, he had been lifted before the 5th inning in 3 consecutive starts. Gave up 16 runs and 10 1/3 in those 3 starts. The changeup misses a bit high. 6 innings, 5 hits, 87 pitches for Michael Wacha against the Phillies over the weekend. And the 1-2 pitch. Eric Sogard, 5 years in Oakland, missed an entire season with a knee injury. Took the roster spot of Ryan Braun, who's on the DL with a calf issue. 2-2 is popped up. On the infield, Jed Jerko, the Cardinals' 3rd baseman, makes the catch. And there's one away. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Martinez, Fowler, and Piscotti, that trio in the outfield. Jerko, Diaz, DeYoung, and Carpenter on the infield. Yadier Molina is behind the plate. On the DL, Colton Wong. So Paul DeYoung starting at second base.
See how Yadier Molina works Michael Wacha against Eric Thames. Last night he homered his first time up on a changeup. That was a cut fastball right there, and Wacha got the strike.
Thames didn't like it, and it's 0-2. That home run last night, number 17 to lead Milwaukee. Mike Matheny said before the game about Paul DeYoung, he said one of the things that I liked is the fact that, I know he didn't like it, but we sent him back down. He could have stayed out for 2 to 3 days, not played, but he went right back into the Memphis lineup. There's a strikeout of Thames. Didn't sulk, didn't pout, didn't worry about it, wanted to play baseball. And here he is back in the big leagues.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways you can go when you're sent down after enjoying some success. A home run his first time at bat. The major leagues thinking this is a piece of cake. What's going on? Homered my first at bat. Something nobody can ever take away from him.
I bet to this day you remember that first hit, that first home run, that call up.
Infield hit off Glenn Hobby at Wrigley Field in 1959.
That's out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Santana hitting .280 this year. Good fastball at 95.
You got to love the way Michael Wacha is working. His pace is great, and that's very, very important. The rhythm of a pitcher, the faster he works, the more confident, generally speaking, the more confident he is.
Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinals pitching coach, been in the Redbird organization now for a number of years. Fastball on the outside corner, 2 strikeouts. Back-to-back Ks for Michael Wacha. The Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. There's no score. Jet Bandy behind the plate, and Matt Carpenter leading things off for the Cardinals. Followed by Dexter Fowler, then Steven Piscotty. Jed Jerko batting cleanup. Yadier Molina, Aledmys Diaz, Jose Martinez, Paul DeYoung, and Michael Wacha. Zach Davies making his 14th start of the year tonight, third already against the Cardinals. And his record sits at 7-3.
And we talked about this guy. I don't mean this offensively in any way, but he's a right-handed pitcher who features stuff that most left-handed pitchers feature. Rarely throws over 90 miles an hour. Rarely. So his changeup, the deception is not there like it is for Michael Wacha, and that's the point we were trying to make in the opening.
0-1 the count on Carpenter. He's 6 for 15, 2 home runs against this right-hander. Get a little shade from the light standards here at the ballpark. That's what Keon Broxton is doing at center.
Yeah, but that right field and center fielder, they're too close together. I think Domingo Santana is trying to take that gap away, but you rarely see that type outfielders that close.
Into right center, one hops off the wall, and Carpenter on his way to second base as he split the difference between Broxton and Santana.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play him, then you could bring Santana closer to the line, and Broxton, like last night, Matt Carpenter doubled his first time up, and then the second time up, Broxton made a catch against Matt. But that has been Matt Carpenter's slot, that right field slot. So you can see Broxton's close to playing straight away, and Santana was just an odd alignment there. Weird.
He's now doubled in 6 straight games, a new career high for Matt Carpenter. Here's Dexter Fowler. Fowler is first on the team in runs, second in walks behind Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter has just been wearing the ball out.
Coincides with his move to the leadoff spot too.
Sure.
This being his 9th game at the top of the lineup. Carpenter from the leadoff spot is now hit in all 9 games that he's been there. His average is well above 400. On base percentage is near 500.
Off the charts.
0-2 the count on the Cardinals center fielder. Last start for Zach Davies, 5 innings against the Diamondbacks. Did pick up a win, and he's 7-1 over his last 10 starts. Changeup missed up and away, 2-2. On Fowler. The full count delivery. Fowler hits it off at Davies, gets it, throws, and out.
That's a good reaction play by Davies. He didn't know where the ball was momentarily. Ball hit him, I believe, on the left knee or right in that area. Take a look at it. Right knee, like on the side or in the back. He recovered nicely and made a good play. Good play by Eric Thames at first.
Sunfield for the right fielder, and certainly there in that shot you can see for Thames too.
Yeah, I missed that initially, but saw it on the replay. But Eric not wearing sunglasses, but could use them.
There's Stephen Piscotty, the infield, initially with the shift, and now Sogard moving towards his second base position, but in.
Yeah, this is good defense by Craig Counsell, who was an infielder, by the way. He's almost got him halfway. You don't need to be all the way in with Carpenter at third base, because I believe Mike Matheny will have the ball go through. Have a sign with Mike Schill to tell Matt Carpenter to make the ball go through, because if he breaks and the ball's at an infielder, no way he has a chance to score.
Piscotty is 1 for 10 in this series. Chance to give the Cardinals an early first inning lead. Make a good point, Tim. This is a defense that you really don't see that often. It's either you're all the way in or you're back, not in the middle.
They're almost halfway right now. There's just no need to come all the way in, and that's a shrewd move by Craig Counsell, I think.
And the 1-1. Round the horn is presented by Dobbs. Perez, Broxton, Santana in the outfield. Shaw, Arcia, Sogard, and Thames on the infield. Jet Bandy is behind the plate. 1-2 the count on the Cardinals right fielder.
What the Brewers pitchers have tried to do against Piscotty is get ahead of him, and then when they do, bust him inside. Being jammed last night, first 2 times up.
Runner has scored 5 out of 8 times in this spot for Stephen Piscotty this year. The 1-2. Ground ball and a base hit. 1-0 Cardinals. RBI single by Piscotty. He drives in his 19th. 1-0 St. Louis.
That was a hanging breaking ball from Davies. It may have been a changeup. Thought it was a breaking ball initially, but right in the middle of the plate, handled nicely by Piscotty. So the Cardinals on the board.
Jed Jerko, terrific numbers against Davies. 9 for 13 with a home run. Room on the right side of the infield. And there's ball 1. Well, Davies this year, this being his 3rd start, including this first inning, 10 2/3, 17 hits. And yet he's 1-0 against the Cardinals. Not all wins are created equal.
That's true.
When you look at the Cardinals on this homestand, they've had 2 starters only go 5 innings and pick up wins.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy in Davies who's 7-3, and yet opposing hitters are hitting .287 against him.
Chance to do some damage. The 2-0 is lifted in the air to center field. That's a base hit. Piscotty will stop at second base.
Oh boy. Got to try to be, with 1 out, you got to be thrown out at third base. If he throws you out playing that deeply, I mean, Broxton, the way I see it, Broxton didn't even have any idea that Piscotty was going to do anything but go to third base. I think Stephen Piscotty too cautious there.
It brings in Yadier Molina. Started a rally when the Cardinals trailed 6-0 last night with a base hit inside the first base line. First plate appearance tonight, batting .257. He's now 10 for 14 against Zach Davies. Jed Jerko. So runners at first and second, and still only 1 out. 3 of the first 4 against Davies with base hits. mentioned that overall average against Zach Davies, the right-handed batters, 313.
My gosh.
He has been better away from Miller Park this year. ERA is under 2 runs from where it is at home. Took some off that pitch, and it's 1-1. 3-0 on the road. Big gap in left center, shallow in center and in right. 1-1 pitch to Molina.
Two curveballs in a row.
And the 1-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Another breaking ball. It's into center field. Mike Schilt will hold up Stephen Piscotty, and a runner is caught between second and third. That's Jerko, and Piscotty back safely at third.
I don't think any team in the major leagues has messed up on the bases any more than the Cardinals have this year. We're saying that assuming that Piscotty's hamstring is okay, and he's running like it is. Jerko rounding the bag and looking at third, and surprised to see Mike Schilt hold up Stephen Piscotty. Debacle on the bases once again for the Cardinals. Man.
There's Diaz with the home run last night, a 2-run shot in the 8th. And strike one on the Cardinals shortstop. Thus far, a double, 3 singles, and yet only 1 run to show for it.
That's in 5 hitters, 3 singles and a double, and there are 2 outs.
And the 0-1. 0-2 on Diaz. Just can't keep happening at this level.
No. Nope.
Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It can't continue to happen at this level and expect to win.
Well put.
It can happen at this level, but you're not going to win with it happening at this level.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Diaz. Fouled back. Tonight we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run and strikeout in this game raises money for prostate cancer research. And since June 1st, $2.6 million have been raised in the challenge. Make a donation at homerunchallenge.org. The 1-2 pitch. When you think about in this inning, you could have pushed it with Piscotty going from first to third, scoring Piscotty from second base. Jerko in a rundown between second and third.
Now the point is, Dan, you cannot be a team that runs 1 base at a time. This is the major leagues. These are supposed to be the greatest base runners in the world, and the Cardinals haven't treated it like that.
Little squiver to the right side. Thames pounces on it and safe. Diaz beats it out. Infield hit, scores Piscotty. That'll pick you up.
That is a real pick you up is right. Base hit, Thames dives for it. I think it gets hung up in his glove. No, he dropped the ball. Then by the time he picked it up and threw it to Davies covering, Diaz smelling a hit. Boy, what a nice aroma that was. That's an RBI and a base hit, man.
He'll take it.
That smells awfully nice.
It's 5 hits in the inning, and now Jose Martinez. 2-0 Cardinals here in the home half of the first. Ball 1. We talked about last night how the Cardinals wanted to see Mike Leake go deep in the game because of players or pitchers that were unavailable. More than likely, the Brewers are facing that tonight. Corey Knebel, Jared Hughes. Those are 2 for sure that you look at. You might go to Willie Peralta and think that he's on the fringe of that conversation. Jacob Barnes could be off limits as well, so you get the point. They need him to go fairly deep in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's half their bullpen.
Yeah.
That's suspicious as to whether they're available tonight.
Pitch number 31 of the first inning, and Martinez grounds it foul. Game 1 on Tuesday of the doubleheader. With Mom in the stands from Venezuela. Jose Martinez, an opposite field home run. Then he got a sac fly RBI, and this one wasn't coming back. 3 RBIs in game 1, a pair of solo home runs, and a curtain call.
On the contrary, that second one will bring Mom back.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. You just watch Zach Davies, and if he's not perfect, it makes you wonder, Tim, does he have a pitch that can put hitters away with 2 strikes?
After breaking balls, like he threw 3 straight curve balls to Molina. He threw 2 straight to Jose Martinez. Ideally, a fastball on the inside would be the pitch here, but he does not have confidence in that pitch.
Fastball outside, just missed. And kind of like Mike Leake last night, if he's not going to get the corners, it could be a long night for Zach Davies.
Yes.
Runners off with this pitch. First and second, 2 outs. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Jose Martinez. Martinez hits it sharply to second, bobbled by Sogard, and out at first. Ball was scorched to second base.
I think the only thing was Thames on the bag when he made the catch. The Brewers are not treating that as the foot on the bag. Yes, it was. Barely.
Cardinals still taking a little longer look at it.
Brewers in no hurry to get off of there, and that's a good sign for the Cardinals.
However, they do not challenge, so they're out of the inning, but the Cardinals strike first in the bottom of the first. Steven Piscotty with RBI number 19. Driving in Matt Carpenter. And it's a 2-0 St. Louis lead. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Kolten Wong is on the disabled list. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Dan, Kolten had been on fire since coming back from a left elbow injury. He was carrying a 6-game hitting streak. He hit .450 over that stretch. Now he's back on the 10-day DL with a right tricep strain. Kolten says it actually first became a problem in Peoria, where he was on a rehab assignment for his elbow issue. Wong told me, I thought it would eventually go away. It didn't feel like anything of concern until that check swing last night. I tried to turn a double play the next inning, and there was a sharp pain, so I kind of knew something was up. Dan Kolten says he'll stay back when the team heads to Baltimore to work with the trainers. He told me the trainers feel like they can get a handle on this situation fairly quickly, so he's not overly concerned, but back on the DL for Kolten Wong.
So, Jimmy, just to make sure that we have this right, so it's the right forearm, but also he has dealt with the left elbow as well, right?
The left elbow was the reason he went on the DL last time. He felt the pop when he was taking a swing, and he said he believes they're past it, but he said he'll always be concerned until he gets farther away from that occurring. This is a forearm right tricep, they call it, issue. He felt tightening, and last night when he tried to turn that double play, he said the tightening turned to sharp pain, so he's on the DL. Again, it's just a strain. They don't see any real damage. And talking to the trainers, Kolten believes they have a plan for treatment, anti-inflammatories. He said also plenty of rest, but he'll stay back and won't head out to Baltimore with the team, Dan.
All right, Jimmy, good stuff as always. Unfortunate for Kolten Wong, but an opportunity for Paul DeJong. Here's Hernan Perez. Mike Matheny was asked about his frustration with the injury to Kolten Wong, and he said, well, it's really frustrating for him, but we can't worry about it. You got to move forward with the players that are here, available, healthy. Hopefully Kolten gets right and come back in the lineup, but right now, don't look back. That's kind of the story of baseball, isn't it?
That's the way a manager has got to think. Sympathy is short-lasted or lasting in baseball.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Line to short and caught by Aledmys Diaz.
What a laser that was. Ball never got over 3 feet high. Just a tracer to Diaz.
Those are the kind you see an infielder. I mean, they follow it all the way in because it's knuckling a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Not a lot of hang time. Ball was scalded.
Brings in Jet Bandy. He was picked up from the Angels in the offseason in the Martin Maldonado deal. And there's strike one. The Brewers start play tonight, now 5 games above 500 on the road. They have not had a winning road record since 2008. And you think about in this division, if you're going to win it and get into postseason play, it's about winning at home, but staying around that 500 mark on the road and playing tough in your division. Milwaukee, St. Louis, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati in the Central. The best road record to the Brewers.
Talked about it last night. The reason that's so important is you play those in your division 18, 19 times, and you play those in the other division 6 or 7 times.
2-2 pitch. The Brewers, after tonight, the next 4 series feature teams that you might say they could have a pretty good shot of winning those series. San Diego, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and Cincinnati. Cardinals will not face the Brewers until August 1st after tonight. Three and 2 the count with 2 outs and nobody on. And it's a 2-out walk. Toyota keys to the game. Quality start. The Cardinals 24-11. 6 innings, 3 or fewer runs. Quality start. They don't get that. 6-23. The 3-2 cutter to Bandy, and he walked him. Here's Keon Broxton, who's 4 for his last 11. 2 home runs. He's driven in 4. Unloads on that pitch. Deep left center and a long home run. And just like that, Broxton with number 9. And this game is tied at 2. Wow.
Thing about that ball, it had the arch as the background. I mean, that ball was hit by a guy who went up looking for a fastball and got it and did something with it. Way back up in the stands.
So the walk and then the home run, and we're tied at 2. Strike 1 on Orlando Arcia. Broxton has been really streaky, and Craig Counsell said he's going to play as long as this streak continues. He's now 5 for his last 12 with 3 home runs. Craig was being asked about the top prospect Lewis Brinson, how much playing time he'd get. He said right now we can't take Broxton's bat out of this lineup.
You just saw a reason why.
A combination of power and speed with Keon Broxton.
Excellent center fielder defensively.
Here's the 0-2. Arcia signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2010. Came into this year as their number 1 prospect. Hits it out of play. 489 feet. The measured distance of that Broxton home run. 489.
Dan, it looked like it was as high as it was far.
Agreed. And the 0-2. Different look tonight for Michael Wacha in that stirrup. Some of the players going with the higher look and the STL on the outside.
Are my eyes deceiving me, or did he go around on that? That was very strange. That 0-2 pitch.
You could have a ball roll from Michael Wacha, and if he swings at it, that's a strike.
No, he didn't go. That was my mistake.
The 2-2 pitch. Arcia swing and a miss. Third strikeout for Michael Wacha. Broxton, the home run, his 9th. RBIs 21 and 22. Due up third for the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter, and he's red hot. 2-2 our score. 17. It's out for Xbox, PS4, and Android. The breakout MLB season is here. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Paul DeYoung, Michael Wacha, and Matt Carpenter for the Cardinals. Broxton there. The 2-run homer. We're tied at 2. The Cardinals get 5 hits in the bottom of the first and score 2.
Last 3 games, the first time up, Keon Broxton has homered, walked and scored a run, and hit a 2-run homer.
The strike to DeYoung. 1 ball and 1 strike. Zach Davies acquired by Milwaukee at the trade deadline 2 years ago from Baltimore for Gerardo Parra. He's now with Colorado. Here's a 1-2. And in an era where it seems like every pitcher throws hard, he is more of a craftsman. Guys like Davies, Mike Leake, the exception more than the rule. The 2-2 took some off that breaking ball, and a strikeout, his first of the night. And it brings in Michael Wacha. Wacha this year is 1 for 17. Tonight's game is on AFN, the American Forces Network, now in its 75th year of broadcasting to American military personnel overseas. And welcome to those watching tonight, and thank you so very much for your service. And there's ball 1 to Wacha. Davies took to baseball at a very early age. He, along with his dad, would actually watch games on television, and his dad would quiz him. What should you be throwing in this spot? What do you think about this spot? Where do the runners go? What do you do as an infielder on this type of play?
No wonder he became a crafty right-hander.
Crafty right-hander?
Yeah.
Not crafty lefty.
No.
Crafty righty. Hit up the middle. Backhanded by Sogard. And Wacha is out number 2. Since June 7th, Matt Carpenter has been on a tear. 31 at bats, .419 the average, 3 home runs, and he's driven in 9. It's all from the leadoff spot. First time up, a double to right center, and scored on the base hit by Piscotty. The Cardinals on this homestand have won 4 of 6 and averaging 6 runs a game. And a lot of that is to do with what Carpenter has done here at the top of the lineup. His average is now at 243. He hasn't seen 240 in a long time.
No. Talked about it last night. He is really hitting against that front side a lot more often last 2 or 3 weeks.
0-2 pitch. Carpenter puts it in play into the shift. And a 1-2-3 for Zach Davies. We head to the 3rd. It'll be Davies, Sogard, and Thames coming up. 2-2 our score. brought to you by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. And by your local St. Louis area Volkswagen dealers. And a pitch taken high by Zach Davies, and we're underway here in the top of the third. 2-2 our score. This is a significant date in Cardinals baseball history. June 15th, 1964. Brock for Brolio.
Hello, baby.
I spoke to Dick Zitzman today to get an update on Lou. He said he's doing better. Spirits are very, very high. And he's got a goal.
One of the most courageous men I've ever met. And that is not a hyped comment.
His goal is to make it to Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame ceremonies in late July.
Beautiful.
Dick said he's already talking about business too. Getting back out on the road. Ground ball that's hit to short, gloved by Diaz, and there's one away. Just some of the numbers to tell you about, especially for our younger fans with Lou Brock. Didn't steal fewer than 50 bases for the next 12 years after he was acquired. By the time he retired, single season all-time mark 118 in stolen bases. Then record all-time 938, and broken by Ricky Anderson. 21 games he played in the World Series. His average was .391. 34 hits, 13 for extra bases. He stole 14 in those games. That pitch is fouled back. Buck O'Neil, the famed ambassador of the Negro Leagues, is the one that scouted and then signed Lou Brock at that time for Chicago.
Lou from Texarkana.
Grew up listening to the Cardinals.
Texarkana, I believe, is a city where half of it's Arkansas, half of it's Texas, right?
In Chicago, reminded of what he wasn't in St. Louis, was told what he could be. And a base hit into left.
That's a great comment right there. I've never heard it put exactly that way. That was so true. Johnny Keane said, Lou, you were not allowed to run with the Chicago Cubs. You can run anytime you want to with the St. Louis Cardinals. And he did.
Did he ever? Here's Eric Thames.
Never sliding into a bag hands first. And when he slid into a bag, it was with some authority, believe me. Very aggressive base runner.
If you come to the ballpark, I would encourage everybody to watch the video that they play that goes through the history of the Cardinals and some of the great moments and players right before the first pitch. Look how hard Lou Brock slides into second base. Reckless abandon.
Tell me about it. He also goes into catchers very hard.
You know from firsthand experience?
Well, in 1971, Lou and I had an altercation in Philadelphia. And the next trip to St. Louis, Lou was on at third base. Cardinals were trailing by a run. I beg your pardon, there was nobody out. Cardinals trailing by a run. A shallow fly ball hit to Willie Montañez in right field, and I knew Lou was going to try. So I had to, when catchers receive throws from right field with a tough base runner on at third base, you take one look at him and you know he's coming. And now your attention has to go back to the ball. The minute I caught the ball, I turned to my left, and Lou's belt buckle was about 2 inches from my face. And he hammered me, and I mean hammered me good.
Popped up left side off the bat of Thames and into the seats.
Knocked me out. I was a walking knockout guy.
Is that right?
That night, yes. I walked, found my way, but I walked into the clubhouse. We won the game. That played, we win the game by a run. Lou was out, and I wandered through the tunnel like bouncing back and forth, and it's not an exaggeration, bouncing back and forth on the walls, and my head really never cleared that night. I knew I had a concussion of some kind, but in those days concussions weren't that big a deal. I mean, they were a big deal, but not nearly
like
as sensitive as the public is today.
You had so many great moments with Lou. Is that something that you guys have talked about?
Oh yeah, we've been, yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, I came back to the Cardinals in '73 and '74. Lou and I, wasn't exactly, nothing had ever happened, but we talked about it.
Yep. You don't forget that.
No.
I was in fantasy camp, and Brian Jordan and Gary Bennett were there, and Gary Bennett got trucked, and I mean trucked, by Brian Jordan. It's a famous highlight. And I asked both of them, I said, you guys talk about it ever? Brian Jordan said, absolutely not. Gary Bennett said, I don't want to talk about it. And they were serious about it. They said that's part of the game. I got run over by one of the great NFL players at the time, and Brian Jordan, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well, Lou packed the punch of a lot of NFL players, in my view.
So walk to Thames, runners at first and second. Lilliquist out to visit with Michael Wacha. Now, often overlooked him, this date in baseball history, is one that got away for the Cardinals. Keith Hernandez in 1983 was traded on this date.
For Neil Allen and Rick Ownby, right? Rick Ownby was the other pitcher.
And they combined to win 21 games, with Neil Allen winning 20 of the 21. Hernandez said he knew a trade was coming, and he actually blocked a deal to Houston, which would have brought Ray Knight to St. Louis.
You know, I never knew that.
And then Hernandez and Knight got together in New York and won a championship in 1986.
I received a phone call on June 14th, 1983, my first year with the New York Mets, from Frank Cashin, the general manager of the Mets, asking me about Hernandez. And I said, Frank, before I answer that, I'd have to know the price for Hernandez. And he told me, Neil Allen and Rick Ownby. And I said, I wouldn't take too long to make that deal.
No.
Keith Hernandez, one of the great players in the game that at that time, a dual MVP in 1979 with the great Willie Stargell. And I'm one guy that thinks Hernandez belongs in the Hall of Fame.
We've talked about it. Make a case. There's a base hit into center field, and a run will score. Throw will go into the cut at Diaz at short, and Santana makes it a 3-2 Brewers lead. Just to finish the thought, you can make a case Keith Hernandez, the best fielding first baseman that the game has seen.
He's the best. Yeah, that wasn't even close.
So Santana drives in his 35th, and the Brewers have their first lead of the night. Here's Travis Shaw. He's coming off a tremendous month of May. He was the Brewers Player of the Month. So he drove in 18. Also had an 11-game hitting streak in the month of May. Well, Lou, if you're watching, we're thinking about you. Get down to the ballpark soon. Here's the 0-1 pitch, taken high.
Boy, that glare of the setting sun looks like it's setting right in right field. It's a tough right field right now.
Into the right side. Carpenter to second. Wacha covering the bag, and a double play.
Nice.
5-3-6-1 on the double play. A base hit to center by Domingo Santana to drive in Eric Sogard. It's now a 3-2 Milwaukee lead, and a nifty double play started by Matt Carpenter. Coffee fountain, frozen drinks, any size drink, 50 cents. The next day and On the Run. Redbird scores 6. Keep the celebration going. Stop by On the Run tomorrow for a thirst-quenching win. You earned it. It's a dedicated fan on a hot night, bringing out the little ones. There's Fowler. It's a high fly ball. Right field. This ball is gone! Dexter Fowler with home run number 10 to tie it up. All 10 of his home runs from the left side of the plate.
We're going to try to freeze this on contact and reiterate why it is so vital for pitchers to stay out of that area. Right here, watch. All hitters do, particularly left-handers, drop the head on it. You don't need extension. You don't need power. As a matter of fact, that is the power slot for both right-handed and left-handed hitters, the ball down and in. That's why it goes a long, long way.
12th home run that Davies has given up. 10th home run overall for Fowler. 27 RBIs. 9 of the 10 home runs he's hit have either tied a game or given the Cardinals a lead. So the average hasn't been high this year, but the power, 10 home runs, you'll take that. Two balls and 2 strikes on Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty a base hit to left that scored Matt Carpenter back in the first, and he was driven in on the infield hit by Aledmys Diaz. That's ripped foul.
Things change from one day to another. Much more aggressive swings by Piscotty tonight than last night.
First 2 times up last night, jammed with a soft liner to first and then a slow roller in key spots.
You know what, Dan? There's nothing wrong with getting angry. You hear that on a golf course, a guy hitting one out of bounds, and then the next one is way down. I mean, way down the fairway. And the reason is you had an angry swing at a ball like that.
3-2, sharply hit to third. Travis Shaw makes the play, the first out here in the home half of the third.
Yeah, and I would consider those 2 angry at bats by Stephen Piscotty. Nothing wrong with that.
Jed Jerko, base hit to center back in the first inning. Now 10 for 14 off of Zach Davies. Big gap in left center. Strike one. I think it's safe to say that Fowler likes it here at Busch Stadium. 9 home runs of his 10 have been hit at this ballpark. 21 of his 27 RBIs here at Busch Stadium.
This is, generally speaking, a very fair ballpark for home runs.
One-two pitch hit to the right side, softly taken there by Sogard for the out. Six of the 7 outs have been on the ground for Zach Davies. His last 3 starts, his ground ball rate is 66%. So a lot of ground balls. Three our score with 2 outs here in the home half of the third. And here's Yadier Molina. 0-1.
Yadi singled to center on the 3rd straight curveball thrown to him by Davies in his first at bat.
Ground ball to first. Thames is there. Takes it himself. Dexter Fowler snaps an 0 for 13 against Zach Davies with a solo home run. 10th of the year. And we're tied 3-3. back in the big leagues. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Dan Paul barely had time to unpack his bags, as he put it, unpacked them just in time to pack them back up. DeYoung had just been sent back to Memphis when Colton Wong came off the DL at the start of the homestand. Now with Wong back on the DL, DeYoung has returned for his second big league stint. He told me, I got all of the major league firsts out of the way. Now it's time to get down to business. Mike Matheny told me DeYoung impressed him during his previous call-up. He said Paul wasn't overwhelmed by being here. He was doing the same things he did at Memphis, showing good range on D and taking consistent at-bats. Pretty good praise, Dan.
He also talked about, Mike Matheny, saying that there were certain elements of his game that stuck out in spring training, but you never know because you cannot replicate being at Busch Stadium and 40,000 fans and a major league pitcher where the games count. But they liked what they saw from Paul DeYoung this spring. He had one of the better springs of anybody in major league camp. Here's a 1-2. Line drive and a base hit by Hernan Perez. Second time through this order has not been pretty this far for Michael Wacha.
Nope. It's funny, a guy like Michael Wacha is not really a low ball pitcher. I mean, it's not that he doesn't get outs on the pitch that's down, but it's always a four-seamer. In my opinion, I think he should try to come up with a two-seam fastball to have some sink in double play situations such as this to get the ground ball.
Strike one to Jet Bandy. He was walked back in the second. The Cardinals went with the cutter on a 3-2 pitch. And then it was Keon Broxton and a mammoth home run, 489 feet.
As an example, Michael has faced 14 hitters tonight. He has 2 ground ball outs. 2.
Runner at first is Perez, and the 0-1 pitch. Second check on the runner.
Excuse me, Dan. A closer check. 3 ground ball outs. Travis Shaw grounded into a double play in the 3rd inning. But for the most part, National League hitters do not hit the ball on the ground against Wacha.
Cardinals have been very cautious with his pitch count because of the shoulder issues that he's had in the past. This is pitch number 68. And it's a fly ball out to left. Jose Martinez makes the catch.
Boy, I like that. Coming inside on the right-handed Jet Bandy, I beg your pardon. It's a way to kind of neutralize things, to pitch guys inside. Pop them inside. Make them aware of the fastball in there. Matter of fact, the guy at the plate needs to be aware of that from Cardinal pitching.
Swinging a hot bat. That's Keon Broxton. 3 home runs in his last 12 plate appearances.
Almost all big, strong home run hitters like that like to extend their arms. And you crowd them, and that takes something away from their power. Crowding meaning pitch them inside.
First pitch to Broxton. But this time last year he changed his stance. You'll notice where he holds his hands. Used to hold them much higher. Now it's down low, and he talks about being able to use that to be a little quicker on those inside pitches. All different kinds of styles.
Yeah. He holds it low, but he lifts it when the ball is on the way. Better position for leverage. And that's certainly one of the elements of hitting that cannot be overlooked.
0-2 the count. Runner at first. 3-3 our score. Short lead at first by Perez.
I remember hearing a comment about hitting years and years ago. And the comment was, no hurry, no worry. And when you're locked in at the plate, it seems like the pitches are in slow motion. You know, there's no hurry to get to it. You wait.
Trust your hands.
Trust your hands.
Weight is
get
back.
your front side. All of those things happen. And believe me, it's not an easy thing. And I don't mean it to sound easy, but no hurry, no worry.
Here's Arcia at the plate. Base hit into right field. Well, Broxton moments ago the strikeout, but he has the second longest home run recorded this year. Number 1 on that list, Aaron Judge, measured at 495 feet. Mammoth home run. And then tonight, Keon Broxton, his measured at 489, just shy of Aaron Judge. So 1 and 2, the longest home runs in baseball this year. Well, at least the Brewers get Davies through the lineup. There's strike 1. Grounded out to short, first time up. You mentioned the other night, I agree. Aaron Judge is the MVP currently of the American League.
Yeah, he's been the best player in baseball so far this year.
Oh, 2 the count with 2 outs and 2 on. Cardinals will have Diaz, Martinez, and DeYoung coming up in the home half of the 4th. The 0-2 pitch by Michael Wacha. Foul back again. The 0-2 pitch. 1 and 2. Base hit by Perez, base hit by Arcia. 1-2 and goodbye. Strikeout number 5. 2 in the inning. Brewers strand 2. They have left 3 on. 3-3 is our score. Bud Light, famous among friends. By Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest lasting, full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Well, the Cardinals in the first inning had 5 hits. They scored 2 runs. They led 2-0. Milwaukee then took a 3-2 lead. Cardinals tied it up with a solo home run by Dexter Fowler. 3-3 our score.
2 Fowlers have had good days in the sports world today.
Oh, have they ever. Ricky and Dexter.
Ricky Fowler with a 7-under in the first round of the Open at Erin Hills, just north of Milwaukee.
That's right. Only Johnny Miller with a better opening round in the history of the U.S. Open at 8-under. Ricky was my choice to win too.
Was he really?
Yes.
Get out of here.
I'm
Why didn't you
serious.
say it last night? That's the first
did.
time I've heard that, folks.
Well, maybe you should pay attention more.
I always pay attention to you, Danny. Or is that a Johnny come lately? I knew Ricky was going to have a good first round. No?
Well, you can believe what you want, but I'm telling you.
You
I
had,
said
you
follow
had
from
him
the
against the
get-go.
field, right?
No, sir.
No, you did.
No, I had Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson, right.
Fowler. You know, Fowler is at times in uniform in spring training with the Cardinals.
From Jupiter, where the Cardinals train.
Close with many of the players.
Mm-hmm.
Most teams, if not all, have a chef. And the Cardinals have a chef of their own that is here every day. He's at spring training. He'll mail some of the meals to the players. And that chef was introduced, my understanding, to the Cardinals by Ricky Fowler.
I didn't know that.
Catch made by Domingo Santana for out number 2. Want a great deal on Cardinals tickets? Fill up at Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more now until September 25th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Never know who's going to stop by in spring training. We've seen Bobby Knight, Bill Belichick, Nick Price, Mike Schmidt. Jim Cott will come a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, Kitty.
Jim Palmer.
Kitty is ever present in that Florida spring scene, as is Jim Palmer. Jim lives in Palm Beach. You'll see Jim Palmer tomorrow when the Cardinals go to Baltimore.
Orioles currently 1-6 on their road trip, playing at the White Sox tonight.
I think Chris Sale pitches that game. No. I beg your pardon. I was thinking. Here I'm thinking of last year and the years past of Sale being with the White Sox. I'll be all right.
2-1 is a foul ball. Tomorrow night, Carlos Martinez and Kevin Gausman. Carlos coming off a complete game shutout. Last time out, he was masterful against the Phillies.
Yeah, Sale does pitch tonight, but he's pitching for the Red Sox. 8-2 on the year. Probably be on the All-Star team.
No question. Base hit by DeYoung with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Good hitting that ball on the ground to Paul. Can't make too much of it because opposing pitchers and catchers working the lineup. With 2 out, nobody on, that 8th place hitter getting on. Now you clear the pitcher. So there's no such thing as an insignificant hit in baseball.
And there's Michael Wacha with 2 outs and a runner at first. Grounded to second, first time up. Slowly hit to the right side. Eric Sogard flips over to Thames. Cardinals strand a runner, their third of the night. We head to inning number 5, and we're tied at 3. Run in this game hit by Keon Broxton back in the second. For those of you that have just joined us, the second longest home run recorded this year. Aaron Judge, number 1. His was 495 feet. Broxton 489 here at Busch Stadium. The rare Expos had here at the ballpark.
Les Expos.
And congratulations to that gentleman. With 2 outs in the bottom of the first, that young lady was born. Hey, a reminder, we have great drinks at McDonald's. Check out the new frozen beverages only at McDonald's. So the top of the lineup, third time through for Michael Wacha. Let's see what kind of adjustments he makes, and vice versa. Sogard, Thames, and Santana. He singled and scored. A base hit by Santana. Domingo back in the third. Here you have Milwaukee that is in first place, and they have not won a series since mid-May when they took 3 of 4 against San Diego. And trying to make it 3 of 4 here tonight against the Cardinals. And the 0-2 pitch to Eric Sogard. And all kinds of movement in the Central Division. This is the 28th day Milwaukee's been in first place. Chicago at 26 days. The Cardinals 13. Cincinnati held first place for 18 days. The 2-2 pitch. Hit down the right field line, and a fair ball off the sidewall. Piscotty, bare hands, fires into second, not in time. Leadoff double, Eric Sogard. He's 2 for 3.
Eric Sogard doing some damage against the Cardinals. He had 2 hits in game 1 of this series. Looks like he was looking on that fastball inside, even though big league hitters rarely look full force for a ball with 2 strikes on him, but he certainly turned on that inside fastball.
Eric Thames has struck out and walked, and it's a base hit into right field. Sogard being waved in, now held up as Piscotty hits the cut. Runners at the corners and nobody out, and the Cardinals may get some activity now in their bullpen.
Yeah, look how far Ed Sadar, the third base coach, was up the line. He was closer to home than to third. That's what third base coaches try to do. You bring them around, bring them around, bring them around, and then you see the throw, and then you stop the runner. You don't stop them before you have a look at the throw. Good throw by Piscotty. He hit the cutoff man. But still, the Brewers have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Michael Wacha averages 88 pitches per start, 6th fewest among starters in baseball. Cardinals very careful with him, and you might be getting into that territory right now. And as we say that, a right-hander just got up in the Cardinals bullpen to start to throw. It's John Brebbia. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Santana. 2-0. Two balls and a strike. We mentioned it before.
At least the mitt deflected that ball that hit the mask of Molina.
2 balls, 1 strike. The next 2, Santana taken high. You know, we've talked about it, Tim, in this series. The Cardinals' late inning struggle, in particular that 7th inning, in both regards. Pitching, having a scoreless frame, but also scoring late. And that's where you get concerned. 3-3 game now in the 5th.
Yeah.
3-1 pitch. Bases are loaded. Third walk issued by Michael.
Cardinals with 3 left-handers in the bullpen, and 1 is not up. Pitch to Shaw. I don't know whether Mike Matheny would go to a left-hander in this situation, because you're really looking at 1 man, but Brebbia is going to have to go to the right-hander because Brebbia is the only one warming up. I think the reason Mike is making this move, and I agree with it, he needs a double play ball, and Wacha doesn't throw many.
And that'll be it for Michael Wacha. Bases loaded. Double, single, walk. Brebbia coming on, and this will be our Chevy call to the pen. Tough spot for him to come into. And Travis Shaw will be the hitter when we come back. Cardinals 10 games this year. That was his longest home run he hit against St. Louis earlier. He's got 3 of them so far this season. One more for good measure. So he's done some damage against the Cardinals with 13 driven in. And now a chance to add to that. Bases loaded. Nobody out. John Brebbia is into the game for the Cardinals. The right-hander face Travis Shaw.
What do pitchers think about in double play situations? Well, you don't want to throw. It's not that you won't throw him later on in the count, but you don't want to start a left-handed hitter like Shaw off with the slider. You're looking for the sinker ball to get the double play ball. That's the odds say that your sinker, you're going to get more double play balls from that. So if you're Shaw, you look for the ball away and down, and that's where he got it.
He's grounded out to second. Also in an inning-ending double play back in the 3rd.
Same story.
Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now things change a little bit. Now the slider could be an appealing pitch to a guy like Shaw. I mean, you just can't keep pumping one fastball after another. But your aim from a catcher and a pitcher standpoint is to get the ground ball on the sinker eventually.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. This inning right here might decide your game.
Yeah, sure.
Bases loaded, nobody out. 4th place hitter up, the 2-1 pitch. Shaw, base hit into right. 1 run is in. Here comes Eric Thames. A throw to the plate. He is in time, and he's tagged out. Strong throw by Piscotty.
Well, I'll say that was a strong throw. Molina catching that ball about 4 feet up the first baseline and had time to come back and tag out Thames. Wasn't even close. So Brebbia threw 3 fastballs and then the changeup. And the changeup, Shaw just rifled into right field.
Hernan Perez now at the plate. He's 1 for 2. See if Brebbia can't get that double play. Popped up and out of play. Eric Thames, that may be a good example of not being able to run into the catcher like we talked about earlier in your story with Lou Brock, or what we saw with Brian Jordan. I mean, he was really in between. Do I go after it? Do I try to go around him to the right, went to the left? It's one of the things that you see with that type of play. The bunt is down. Brebbia has a play at the plate. They run themselves right into an out. Late break. Thank you very much.
Well, what the Cardinal pitchers couldn't do, the Brewers have done on the bases. That's a safety squeeze, but only half of it worked. And that's Perez, the number 5 hitter, on a safety squeeze, and he gets the ball down, but breaking from third was Santana, and he was out by 4 feet.
Terrible break by Santana. Once the ball was down, he's got to break to the plate.
Yeah, he broke, albeit late. So again, what the Cardinal pitchers couldn't do, the Brewers have done it for them. They've made 2 straight outs on the bases.
The Cardinals come away with only 1 run allowed. It's a victory. The base is loaded and the cleanup man on. Throw to third. And a double steal. Chancy play there by Milwaukee.
Yeah, because you take a chance on making that third out at third base. Don't want to do that. But Shaw, my gosh. Talk about a running lead at second base. You've got to make him stop. Brebbia barely looked at him.
The base hit by Shaw, by the way, was his 15th against the Cardinals, most by any opponent this year. He now has 14 driven in against St. Louis. Only Scooter Gennett has more, 15, with 12 of those coming in one game. So runners at second and third. 1 ball, 1 strike on the catcher, Jet Bandy.
Here it is one more time with Shaw on at second. Watch. I mean, my gosh, you got to make him stop. Stolen base number 7 without being caught. Travis Shaw.
Perez on the tail end with his 5th. And time called. 1-2 the count. Brebbia's got a pretty good slider. Let's see if he can't put him away. There it is, and he struck him out. Nice work by John Brebbia. Bases loaded. Cleanup man is up. Nobody out. The Brewers only score 1. It's 4-3 midway through 5. Oblique, so we'll miss him this weekend in Baltimore. The Phillies have lost 8 straight, last in the National League East. That's the upcoming road trip. After sweeping the Cardinals in 4 games at the Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati has now lost 6 straight. Last place in the Central. That little cutie is enjoying some baseball. Here's Matt Carpenter. And strike 1. Carpenter, a double to right center, scored a run and also grounded to second. The O's at the start of play, 6.5 games back in the American League East Division.
But the Red Sox only 2 back now.
But the Orioles very good at home. They're 11 games above the 500 mark at home, and we'll see them tomorrow night. Oriole Park at Camden Yards, one of the great settings in the game. Carpenter with a drive out to right field. And it is dropped. Santana had it, lost it. Carpenter sliding in safely at second base, and he represents the tying run. He is red hot.
They had to put all 7 guys in right field. Load them up in the infield. I mean, that's all he's done is hit one after another, either between or over the right and center fielders or the fence. May remember the 2011 famous Game 6 when Nelson Cruz, everybody was in a no doubles defense but Nelson Cruz. The ball David Freese hit landed between Cruz and the fence. Freese had a triple. The Cardinals tied the game, won the game, and won the World Series the next night.
Fans in Texas still wondering, how did that happen?
How did that happen?
And so are we.
Yeah. Cardinals are saying thank you very much.
Yep. Well, that ball hit the dirt, so throw it out. The pickoff play of Carpenter, that's his second double in this ball game. He's 2 for 3. Here's Fowler 1 for 2 with a solo home run. Eight hits aside in this game. Similar type defense for Dexter Fowler that we saw with Carpenter.
Yeah, I mean, you can't play them both like that. It's identical.
2 strikes on Dexter.
And Dexter just trying to move him along to third base, but Dexter's too good a hitter to do that. Give yourself up, push a bunt down there. I mean, if I'm Mike Matheny, I want Dexter Fowler swinging the bat.
Yep.
Guy who homered his last time up.
And swinging the bat about as well as he has all year.
Yeah. He's not in a funk.
So with that, Shaw backs up at third with 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Fowler, base hit. Here comes Carpenter. Mike Schilt waves him in. The throw to the plate offline. The game is tied. Fowler takes second base, and it's 4-4.
Now that's the way to run the bases. Thank you.
So Fowler, his second RBI of the night. See here, they missed the cut, and with that, Carpenter scores. Fowler heads up base running. He's at second base. And a chance for Piscotty to give the Cardinals a lead. They start to scurry in the bullpen of Milwaukee. Strike 1 on Stephen Piscotty. Base hit to left in the first. Picked up an RBI and also scored a run.
You know, Dan, what people who manage the game and the owners of the game and the managers, general managers and what have you, they try to get the game played better. One of the ways to get the game played better is to give an error on a guy who doesn't hit the cutoff man. If the throw is too high, now I'm not talking about a ball that's 3 feet to the left of the cutoff man or 3 feet to the right of it, but if it's over his head, if the guy had to be 18 feet tall to catch it, give him an error.
Airmails it.
But because actually a guy's taking a base, second base, where he shouldn't be. That's an error.
The 1-1 is lined to third.
Here it is once again. Now look at how blatant this is. As a matter of fact, this is much more blatant than most errors.
You got a point. Now Jed Jerko. I think the basic baseball point you're talking about is that the runner gets an extra base.
Exactly. And that's what happens on an error. An extra base or 2 or 3 maybe. But nonetheless, you get the drift. I mean,
well, I also think you'd
get the
extra base. You'd get the attention of the outfielder.
That's right. And bring that to the agents and say, here, this is why we're not giving your guy another $1 million. If that's the way business is done, conduct it like that. Play hardball. No pun intended.
One ball, one strike. They play Jerko to right center.
Same positioning, though. Can't be the same positioning for Jerko.
Jerko with a line shot out to left, and the catch is made by Perez.
You got Jerko, Fowler, and Carpenter in the right and left, and center fielder are playing in the exact same spot.
The Cardinals looking for a 2-out hit now from Yadier Molina. Base hit to center, also grounded out to first. 4-4 our score here in the bottom of the 5th. Similar positioning, just a little bit more shallow. The souvenir down the right field line. Game 1 was a 6-0 win for the Cardinals in this series. Jose Martinez, 2 home runs. Game 2, an 8-5 loss for the Cardinals. Rough outing for Marco Gonzalez last night. Eric Thames, 3 RBIs in a 7-6 loss, and tonight it's a 4-4 game. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Cardinals have had 5 or more runs in each of the last 5 games, so the offense has picked it up. I would assume this would be the final inning of work for Zach Davies. He is due up 3rd for Milwaukee. Reminder, the Bob Gibson bobblehead is coming up here at the ballpark. That's part 1 of a 2-part series.
A Bobby bobble?
It is. Bobby bobblehead of Bob Gibson. Yeah, you get the drift. Bob Gibson bobblehead is coming up. Part 2 will be with Tim McCarver, and that's courtesy of AT&T, June 24th.
Caught up with emotion because of my bobble bobble day.
I can just imagine Bob Gibson right now.
He's hearing this going, you be quiet.
Are you kidding me? Tim, be quiet. Dan,
just hush.
I'll put you in your place when I see you next time, Dan. But
right.
Tim, be quiet.
Right.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Zach Davies, when he's not pitching, he's doing your taxes. I mean, look at the guy. He didn't look like he should be playing Major League Baseball, but here he is. about 165 pounds.
Wasn't it Bud Black who used to pitch to Steve Decker, and the battery was Black and Decker?
That's right. Here's a 1-2. And it's hit sharply to short. Arcia settles and shows off that tremendous arm. Dexter Fowler, his second hit of the night, second RBI. A base hit to drive in Carpenter, and we're tied up. It's 4-4. To you by Bud Light, famous among friends, and by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Beautiful night here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis as the homestand comes to a close. We'll be in Baltimore, Camden Yards tomorrow night.
That stadium built back in 1993.
The ballpark that really forever changed the game as we see it today.
Good point. Yeah.
Feels old and it feels new at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that ballpark. Keon Broxton will lead it off. A 2-run homer back in the second inning. This tied the game up at 2-2. 489 feet. Brebbia in his second inning of work in relief of Michael Wacha. Wacha 4+, 4 runs on 7 hits. Struck out 5, walked 3, and gave up that home run. If the Cardinals win this game, I think you have to look back at the top of 5. There's a broken bat. Ground ball hit to short. And there's one away. For those of you that just joined us, 3-3 our score at the time, and Milwaukee had the bases loaded, nobody out. Brebbia coming in to face Travis Shaw, the cleanup hitter. He picked up a base hit. There was a play at the plate. Eric Thames was gunned down. Next man tried to bunt. Got it down. Play at the plate. Out number 2. And then the strikeout of Jet Bandy, and only 1 run scored. And that's a huge difference in this game. Now, if the Cardinals do not win this game, they can look back at the first inning.
Right. Well put, Dan.
Cardinals had 5 hits and scored 2 runs, but it could have been a lot more.
That's why base running is so important. It's shameful. Baseball is shameful to have base running go awry like it has with most teams. The hitters stand there and try to hit home runs. It's either a home run or a strikeout. They rarely get on base to practice good base running. They don't think when they're on bases to perform. The defense allows whatever good base running against them, the defense allows it. It's just a mess right now.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
I wonder what George Kissel's words would be right now about the state of the game, from home to third or from home to home.
Well, you've always told me and others that were tutored by George in the minor leagues, he was able to put it in a simple way to think about the game. And a complicated game at times, but he made it simple.
Great teachers simplify what difficulty there is in understanding.
Diaz to his left, 2 down. Lewis Brinson will be the pinch hitter for Zach Davies. Brinson came over in the Jonathan Lucroy deal from Texas and came into this season as the number 2 overall prospect for Milwaukee. So 2 outs and nobody on. Brinson picked up an infield hit the other day in his first major league hit.
Dan, you talked about Brebbia's slider. He's had a chance to show that to Milwaukee this inning. First 2 outs on that good slider. The last pitch a fastball. The first pitch was a slider to Brinson, and I would imagine he'll see another one here.
Fastball, and he struck him out. Nice work by John Brebbia. 1, 2, 3 go the Brewers. We're midway through 6, tied at 4. '23rd, and that'll be the Cardinals pullover, modeled there by Dexter Fowler. Hader is into the ballgame, the lone lefty in the pen right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. We saw him briefly in this series. Take away the hair and the eyeglasses, the tall, lanky frame. This guy is nasty.
Oh, yes, he is.
He's in relief of Davies, who went 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs.
Was raised and grew up in that Baltimore area, with the Cardinals going to Baltimore tonight after the game for a 3-game weekend series against the Orioles. Oriole fan growing up.
Reminds me a little bit, his delivery and his body type, like Chris Sale.
Yeah, yeah. May not drop down quite as much as Chris, but very similar. Looks nasty. Ouch. Sorry. Bailing out in the booth.
They say that he is a future starter, but trying to get his feet wet in the pen. One ball and one strike on Aledmys Diaz. Really slings the ball up there.
Yeah.
Two and two. 95 on the gun from this lefty. The Chevy Fox Tracks. A little rise to it too.
Oh yeah, he's got good stuff, no question.
Two pitch. Three-two is popped up. Shortstop Arcia, the outfield grass for the first out. One away. Don't want to miss the biggest end of the summer party and workplace wellness event of the year, the Biz Dash, Thursday, August 31st at Ballpark Village. Music, tailgates, food and drinks in a 5K. Create your company team by visiting stlbizdash.com. It's brought to you by Fox Sports Midwest. Jose Martinez 0 for 2 tonight. Mentioned the other day, you've seen the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Right now it's Spicoli on the mound. Here's a 1-0. Spicoli only wished he could throw like this.
You saw that again?
Great Sean Penn. The 2-0 pitch now to Martinez. What seems like they're going to play every right-hander the same in the outfield and on the infield.
They certainly have, along with the left-handers too. Sean Penn, within the last 6 months, interviewed by Charlie. Help me.
Rose.
My gosh. At a blank spot. Hope those don't continue. Interviewed by Charlie Rose, and Charlie asked him one question, and Sean said, "You know, that's a good question." Charlie said, "I know it is. What's the answer?" I love that response.
Was it a fluff interview is what you're telling me?
It was not a fluff interview, no. Charlie Rose does not give fluff interviews.
3-1 is hit in the air. Foul territory. Thames out number 2. Have you been interviewed by Charlie Rose?
Yes, I have. I didn't bring it up because of that. 10 or 11 times.
Good man, huh?
He is a good man. Smart guy. About the most curious man I've ever met.
Really?
Yes. He wants to know how it works.
Here's Paul DeYoung, who's 1 for 2. Base hit to left and struck out swinging. tell you what, the more you watch Hader, the more you sit there and say, this guy is good.
Yes. First shake off. It's like he likes that fastball in on the hands to right-handed batters. It's all he's featured this inning.
0-2 the count. Shallow center. Keon Broxton. Hader, a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the 7th and game 4 of this series, and it's 4-4. Hit Milwaukee 9-8 along with Tim McCarver. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well. Our State Farm. 2 plays to look at tonight. Eric Thames trying to score on a base hit to right. And a strong play by Stephen Piscotty in that throw. And Brevia took his time, made the play. The bunt and 2 quick outs. With Milwaukee, the bases loaded. Travis Shaw up and nobody out, and only picked up 1. Big inning. So the lefty is in, Kevin Segrist, and this is our Chevy call to the pen.
Kevin, in the last couple of games, worked a career low 4-pitch inning 2 games ago. Second game of the doubleheader on Tuesday. So he's fresh and ready to go, and 3 of the first 4 hitters, if it gets that far, for the Brewers, left-handed.
Eric Sogard, 2 hits tonight. And a fastball and a strike. Sogard has popped out to third. Singled to left and scored. Doubled down the right field line and scored. Numbers on Kevin Segrist this year. You'll see that curveball more than likely against a lefty as opposed to a righty. 0-2. I think this year, to an extent, kind of a transition year for Kevin Segrist. You're not seeing consistently the 96 to 98. Now he's more 91, 93, which is plenty hard, but just more where he doesn't get away with certain pitches that he did in the past. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a high fly ball lifted out to right. Piscotty under it. And that's the first out. So Eric Thames will be the batter, batting second in this lineup. The Kubota power stats. Most home runs this year for players that had 4 home runs or less a season ago. Judge, Joey Gallo of Texas, Cody Bellinger, another one today. He's got 18. And Eric Thames checks in with 17.
Now, the one thing you can't do, Dan, when you're talking about any pitcher is fall in love with the radar gun. So lack of speed or too much speed. I mean, unless it's 102 miles an hour or something like that. A Trevor Rosenthal arm, Rollis Chapman, guys like that. But it's not how hard it's thrown or how softly it's thrown. It's how it's delivered and where it is when it ends up going across the plate.
The 1-1 pitch to Thames. I've heard pitching coaches, and some have told me the worst thing in the game for them and their jobs is the radar gun. You know, their guys are always looking back. How hard was that pitch?
Yeah. And now we not only are being fed how hard a pitcher throws, but how fast a ball goes out of a ballpark, like exit velocity. To me, it's if it goes out of the ballpark, the exit velocity is fine. Thank you.
That would be a home run?
That would be a home run. Yes. Yes.
Hyundai pitch arsenal. Fastball, change, and the occasional curve from Kevin Segrist. 3-2 pitch now to Thames. Line to short. Oh, nice play. Short hop. The pick by Carpenter and the out. Nifty hands by both Diaz and Carpenter.
Yeah, good play on both sides. Little short hops. Diaz thought that ball was going to be caught in the air, but he stumbled a bit. And that's the toughest backhand, is when a first baseman has to go across his body and backhand it. Nice play.
So 2 outs and Domingo Santana. RBI to center field on a base hit in the 3rd and walked in the 5th. Cardinals will have a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 7th and then the top of the lineup. They've done some damage, Carpenter and Fowler tonight. Two and 0 the count.
Got to be careful right here. I hate that term for a catcher and a pitcher. Be careful. It thwarts production. Right on the corner. Good pitch. About a little change up in a good spot, and that's the time to throw it. Now you've reestablished everything. Now you can throw the fastball.
Diaz to his left. Time to stretch. The top of the lineup, Carpenter and Fowler combined with 4 hits tonight, 3 of the 4 extra bases.
Put some gear on the infielders.
a home run, the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. For Hader, it'll be his second inning of work. He retired Diaz, Martinez, and DeYoung back in the 6th. Tommy Pham will pinch hit for Kevin Segrist. And then we'll see Carpenter and Fowler. First pitch, high fly ball into center. Broxton doesn't see it, and it is caught. Perez over to make the catch. Broxton never saw it.
You know, last night we were talking about there are just some players that have the wherewithal to be where the ball is. It's like in football that he's always around the ball. He's always, he fumbled, he's there. Well, this guy, how many guys have done this? Watch Perez. He comes in to make the play when Broxton lost. Believe me, he is lost. And Perez coming from nowhere to make the play.
Boy, that's a great play.
That really is. We talked about how smart the guy was last night, and that's exactly how Craig Counsell characterized him. He's a smart player, and he's proven that during this series.
He had a long way to go to get that, too.
Yeah. How many guys would do that?
So here is Matt Carpenter with 1 out. Nobody on. 2 doubles tonight. Both have been to right field.
That's why Hader was left in the game for Carpenter and Fowler.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. More and more we're seeing players that actually carry a card as they review the lineup and positioning and where to go. And
I'll be darned. I missed that. Nice going.
Yeah, Perez has been doing that in this series. And then over the weekend we saw the Phillies catcher Cameron Rupp. He had what would be the equivalent on his forearm to what you might see in a quarterback in football.
Quarterback in the plays. Yeah. How about that? Well, there's nothing on that card that said he should be as close to Broxton as he was. That ball would be a ground rule double for every other left fielder in the game. That's the way I look at it.
Well, most left fielders give up on that ball and just say, well, that's handled. That's Broxton's in center. There's no problem.
Exactly.
Maybe drift over just in case.
Yeah.
But he was hustling all the way.
Yeah, or maybe back off or something if the ball hits the fence and caroms out. The center fielder's too close to the fence.
And the 1-2 to Carpenter. Fastball misses outside. Last 9 games combined. Look at that production. 25 for 61, a .410 average, 5 homers, 10 doubles. They've driven in 17. And the 2-2. We've talked about it a lot, Tim, here the last couple of days, but even pitches like that, Carpenter was swinging through them, just off balance a little bit. He just seems to be locked in.
So much different in that swing than it was 2.5 weeks ago.
No doubt. Even a week ago.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah. Feeling for the ball. Tepid swings. Ooh, that's nasty.
3-2 the count. That pitch week and a half ago, he's down on strikes. He's going after it.
Yep.
The 3-2 pitch. Good at bat by Matt Carpenter. On base for the 3rd time tonight. The first walk the Cardinals have received this evening, and it brings in Dexter Fowler. again, it's worth repeating. It's a Milwaukee bullpen that's seen Corey Knebel 34 pitches the last 4 days. Neftali Feliz was designated for assignment. Jared Hughes has pitched a bunch along with Jacob Barnes.
And with that said, Dan, and that continues to be a great point, you look out in the Brewer bullpen, nobody warming up. And Piscotty and Jerko due up.
One pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dexter Fowler. Solo home run in the 3rd. RBI single to right in inning number 5. You won't hear anybody say a bad thing about Craig Counsell. Really good guy. Anybody that's around him, but
right.
I'll tell you what, anytime I watch him, we have a shot of him, he looks like he's just miserable. Stressed out, miserable.
That's a tough job, man.
Sure is. Always kind of pacing and mumbling and upset and looking at his notes, chomping on seeds.
I just love the way you said that.
Here's a 1-2. And Fowler out in front. And a fly ball into shallow center. Keon Broxton sees that one and puts it away for the out. And you said it perfectly. Boy, it is a tough job to manage in the big leagues. So runner at first, Carpenter, and here's Stephen Piscotty.
Had 3 good at bats tonight. Hit the ball hard to third a couple of times. And an RBI single back in the 1st.
So 2 outs, runner at first. Inside.
When you hit the ball hard at somebody, you feel like using counterfeit money when you're paying to buy a product, you know. There's nothing to show for it, but you feel good about it.
But then when you get those little numbers, you say, I was owed that.
They never even up. I mean, that's one of the oldest things in baseball, that, well, those things even up. In other words, you hit balls hard at guys, and then you get little numbers and infield hits, and they all even up. No, they don't.
No, sir.
No. No.
Short lead at first. 2-0 pitch to Piscotty. Changeup.
First changeup we've seen from Hader, and a good one. Good location, down. He's impressive.
Sure is. Two 2-1 pitch. Inside. Jed Jerko is on deck. And still no one throwing right now for Milwaukee in their pen.
Jerko's a dangerous hitter against a guy like Hader. To be effective, Hader has to keep that ball down. And how many times have we seen Jerko rake that low fastball?
We're going to get a chance to look at it right now. Ball 4 to Piscotty. 2 walks in the inning. Derek Johnson, the pitching coach for Milwaukee, is making that slow walk from the dugout to the mound. And the go-ahead run now in scoring position. Big weekend in baseball for fans of the Cincinnati Reds. Pete Rose will have a statue dedicated this weekend in Cincinnati. Later this summer, you'll be there. He's going on the Phillies Wall of Fame, and it was written today that he will not have a chance to go into the Hall of Fame. That was some of that conversation has leaked out that at the age of 76, Pete Rose will be denied the Hall of Fame, at least with Rob Manfred as the commissioner currently.
I had the privilege of playing with Pete for 1 year, 1 full year, 1979. I learned a lot about the game. He could teach you a lot about the game. And he did.
He said one of his favorite players, if not his favorite player to watch, is wearing a Cardinal uniform standing at second base, and that's Matt Carpenter. So 2 outs. Here's Jed Jerko. Ball 1.
The Brewers are living dangerously right here. Jed Jerko, 8 home runs, all solo shots this year. Matter of fact, going back to last year, 16 of 18 hit with no one on base.
One and one the count. One and two. Jerko is 1 for 3 tonight. Chance to put the Cardinals back on top. Fastball inside, and it's 2-2. The 2-2. We'll do it again.
That foul ball is like a pinball machine. Bounced all over the place. Hit Jerko, hit the catcher. Anybody else?
Big gap in left center, and the 2-2 pitch. Jerko with a fly ball out to left, racing over Perez, under it, and he makes the catch. The Cardinals strand 2. They've left 6 on. We played 7 from Busch Stadium. It's 4-4. to him is a fastball and a strike. Rosenthal the other night just did not seem overly comfortable in that appearance. 0-1 pitch. And a ground ball, base hit into right field. The go-ahead run is aboard, and Travis Shaw. Margaritaville night is coming up here at the ballpark. That'll be June 23rd. Purchase of a special theme ticket, you'll receive a Margaritaville inspired Cardinals t-shirt. Pre-game concert, don't miss it. Cardinals.com/theme.
Might as well have a cheeseburger in paradise.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy Buffett. Hernan Perez lined out, singled, and looks at a strike. He came up with runners at first and third, only one out. The safety squeeze, a play at the plate, and the Cardinals with Breby on the mound fielded the baseball through to Molina, and they got Domingo Santana trying to score. Pitching tonight has seen Michael Walker into the fifth. Breby out 2 scoreless innings. Segrist and now Rosenthal.
You know the weird thing about that safety squeeze, how many times, particularly in an era where catchers can't do anything around home plate, have 2 consecutive putouts at home.
Yeah. There's the slider. How about a double play? Little shovel pass that time by DeYoung, and safe at first. Perez gets down the line and just beats the throw. Tim, you talk to second baseman, they'll tell you that this right there.
Toughest playing.
Yep.
From a throwing standpoint.
Exactly.
Because you're too close to underhand it hard, and you're too far away in your lob throw. To me, he was really too far away for that particular throw, but he was caught in between. Something you could really understand with Paul at second base.
There's Jet Bandy, walked and scored in the second, flied to left and also struck out. Good fastball.
That's one of the more awkward plays in a game of grace and beauty. It's just a little flip throw. Rarely can you get too much on it, and he needed something on it then.
Yeah, you can open up the hips and turn towards second base, but at that point you're throwing it sidearm or 3/4. He might fire it into left field.
Sure.
Or handcuff your shortstop.
Yeah. Can't throw it too hard.
0-2 the count. Fly ball into right. Viscotti over near the seats and out of play. Eleventh time these two teams have already met. It seems like every game has been close one way or another. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Jet Bandy. Two and two. DeYoung racing for it. Can't get there. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Bandy. The Cardinals looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th will have Molina, Diaz, and Jose Martinez. Three and 2. Well, Perez has 4 stolen bases this year. Do you think about starting him in this spot?
I mean, as vulnerable as Rosenthal has been, yes, I would.
Perez is not running, and it's a double play potentially. Nope. He'll get the lead man.
Rosenthal, all he had to do was set himself and throw a strike to the shortstop Diaz, and he didn't. So Wild to the plate and Wild to second base. It's almost like Trevor Rosenthal has never made a throw like that in his life. Hurried to second. A good play by Diaz to get the lead runner.
So 2 outs, runner at first. And it extends the inning to Broxton, who was homered tonight, struck out, and also grounded out. 4-4 our score. Outfield is deep. And Broxton lifts a fly ball out to deep center. Fowler with room. He's there and makes the catch. The scoreless inning put up by Trevor Rosenthal midway through 8, tied at 4. Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Carlos Martinez, our What's on Tap, presented by Budweiser. From Camden Yards will come your way at 5:30. Kevin Gossman and Carlos Martinez, 5:30, the pregame show. Carlos Torres, we saw him pitch last night and tossed a scoreless 7th inning, walked one and hit a man. Opponents hitting .303 against him, so he has the 8th of a 4-4 game. I think what this tells you, Tim, is that here we are in a tight game. We've been talking about it throughout the evening. Knebel, Hughes, Barnes might be all off limits, and so now you're getting to the lesser portion of the bullpen of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Right. Yeah, if you go into an extra inning game, you don't know who the Brewers are going to rely on.
It was nice work by Hader out of their bullpen. Josh Hader, 2 scoreless innings in relief of Zach Davies, who made the start and went 5. And it's 0-2.
Now, the reason that a home team is favored in the later innings of a tie game is, now this may be stating the obvious, but the home team has 6 outs with which to work, and the road team has only 3 outs with which to work.
More cracks at it. A 1-2 count now on Yadier Molina.
Sometimes stating the obvious is not that obvious.
No. Molina off the glove of Thames. Torres to the bag and an out.
What a play. My gosh.
Thames, Sogard, Torres. 3-4-1.
You don't see that too often.
No.
Ball really scalded, barehanded by Sogard.
Wow.
They had Molina by 3 feet.
Terrific play. Sogard on the bare hand. And now it's Diaz.
Eric Thames has got a great sense of humor, by the way. Probably thinking we worked all spring on that play.
Oh, sure. It's just like PFP.
Yeah, PFP. Right. That's pitcher's fielding practice. That acronym PFP. I don't know what that last play would have been termed.
Sandlot.
Get him out.
Yeah. Do whatever you have to get him out.
GHO.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Ooh. Fly ball into shallow right. Ball may drop, and it does, and foul. 2-2 the count.
Sogard did what he could, but you know, when you're in that situation, the one thing what Sogard did, he protected the fair part of the field.
Yeah. Good point. So if it's dropping, he's there.
Yeah.
He's a nice player, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's done a good job and has looked good in this series.
2-2 the count. Diaz homered last night late. 3-2. You just think about one of those sliders. Torres loves that pitch. And hang one here to Diaz.
And by hanging one, that's what Diaz hit last night for a 2-run home run in the 8th inning. What happens is a pitcher gets under that pitch and it just spins and doesn't break.
3-2 pitch to Diaz. Popped up again, and a souvenir. 8th inning, the rain was falling, and after this pitch, they brought the tarp out. We couldn't believe he kept that fair. How did that happen?
But that was that slider on which the pitcher got under the ball. 2-run home run for Diaz.
3-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat.
Cue shot.
I always worry about the bat boys. Jake down there.
That's a valid worry.
And same for him. He said, wait a minute. It's Jose Martinez at the on-deck circle. Straighten that out. (3-2) again. Good at bat, Aledmys Diaz. Draws the walk. And and the go-ahead run is at first base for the Cardinals. If you can't catch the games on television, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports Midwest and Cardinals baseball with you wherever you go. Been a nice series for Jose Martinez. Hitless tonight, 0 for 3. Big gap in left center field. Good speed at first. First pitch to Jose Martinez. In the dirt for ball 1. One ball, one strike. The series that Jose has had, it's put Tommy Pham on the bench, and right now the odd man out in terms of being on the 25-man roster is Randal Grichuk.
Yeah.
Getting production from the outfield spots. Two and one. A little quick pitch that time by Torres.
You have to be very careful quick pitching with a runner on base, because by doing that you could deceive the runner and a ball could be called. You must come to a full stop of 1001, which is 1 second.
2-2. Cardinals with Seung-Hwan Oh getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Martinez grounded to second, fly to right, popped out to first. Two-two pitch. Inside.
That was an odd take, wasn't it? It looked like he was going to swing at it. Then he like jumped back.
Three-two pitch, runner goes, and it's hit out of play.
One of the few times this year that Mike Matheny has sent a runner with the 3-2 count.
Bandy, their catcher, has been very good in this regard of throwing out base stealers. The crowd tonight, 45,228, 45228.
The thing about it is, Dan, you don't care about that.
Yeah.
Because it's up to the hitter to put the ball in play. That's his job. That's why a lead is not that important. That's why jump is not that important for the guy on first. It's up to the hitter to put the ball in play. And the hit and run is never given with 2 outs. Ever.
It's another 3-2 pitch to Martinez. Runner goes. Ground ball to third. Shaw out there, double play. They still turn 2 on a hard hit ball by Jose Martinez. That'll send us to the 9th inning. Cardinals taking a longer look at this. 9 hits aside, and we're tied at 4-4. David Bell will give either the thumbs up, thumbs down. Mike will give a mean look to the umpire if he does not want to challenge.
Yeah, he looked out at second base. Evidently Mike thought so too.
Seung-Wan Oh, and it is 8-9-1 in the lineup for Milwaukee. Here's Orlando Arcia. First pitch, a strike. Really a game of on both sides, missed opportunities tonight.
Yeah.
Cardinals had 5 base hits in the first inning, scored 2 runs. Milwaukee bases loaded, nobody out, cleanup man on. Up, and they only get 1 run out of it. That was back in inning number 5.
A lot of those missed opportunities came on the base paths for both teams too.
Dropping down a bunt that rolls foul. 1-2 the count. Michael Wacha pitched into the 5th. Allowed 4 runs. Brebbia 2 scoreless innings. Kevin Segrist the 7th, Rosenthal the 8th, and now Seung-Wan Oh. Chopped foul. One-two pitch, line to short. That's the first out here in the top of the 9th. Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Keon Broxton. 489 feet, second longest home run recorded this year. Jesus Aguilar has a home run in this series, and he'll pinch hit.
There have been an awful lot of line drives at people tonight. Ton of them.
in particular to Ledmus Diaz at short for the Cardinals.
Right.
Have to be careful to an extent with Aguilar. Tremendous power in the minor leagues. And he's provided a little spark off the bench at times this year for Milwaukee. Manny Pena and Nick Franklin left on the bench, position players for the Brewers. Ground ball and a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. So the go-ahead run is on.
Dan, if a hitter gets a hit off the end of the bat or a jam shot, breaks his bat, goes the other way or something like that, I don't think anybody's going to complain. But when a guy gets the better part of the bat on the ball to get a hit on an 0-2 count, that's a no-no.
And we're back to the top of the lineup and Eric Sogard. 2 hits tonight, 2 runs scored.
That's generally the rule of thumb on 0-2 pitches, in fairness to everybody.
Sometimes you make a great pitch and you get beat. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, the Cardinals have DeYoung and then O-Spot and Matt Carpenter. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just missed with that pitch. 2-1. The strike zone of Corey Blazer has been very consistent for the most part tonight. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Sogard, and that's taken high. 3-1. Cardinals bullpen ERA 4.68. One of their biggest concerns has been getting to the 8th inning, those middle innings, the 6th and the 7th in particular. Aguilar is your runner at first base. 3 balls, 1 strike to count. 3-2. Bullpen the last 3 years on the rise, going the wrong direction. The Cardinals face this. Do you start Aguilar in this spot?
Yeah, remember the speed of the runner is not a consideration. He's not a fast runner, but so what?
He was running and the pitch is popped up. Molina throws the mask and he makes the catch. Two outs, Eric Thames.
Tough matchup for O. He has had problems with left-handed power hitters all year.
Now, is that okay?
Of course. He's his teammate, for crying out loud.
I just want to set the parameters on that.
Yes.
Who can pick up the mask?
When your teammate picks up the mask and gives it to the catcher, that's okay.
That's okay.
When an opponent doesn't, it's not okay.
That's bad.
You got it.
Okay.
Cleared that up.
So if okay, forget it. I got it.
That's it. You do have it. Now drop it.
0-1 pitch, now 0-2 on Thames.
I was just saying that he doesn't really have a problem with right-handed batters. I mean, they'll get hits against him, but you don't concern yourself with a long ball. Left-handers is a different deal. Again, an 0-2 count.
Protects the plate, hits a foul ball to the left side. Fowler about as deep as you could play in center field in this ballpark.
Granite City.
The 0-2. And that's hit out to right field. Could be trouble. This ball is gone. Hits off the top of the wall. And it's a home run, number 18 for Eric Thames on an 0-2 pitch.
Oh, 0-2 pitch by Aguilar to get on. An 0-2 pitch to put the Brewers ahead by 2 runs. A high fastball. Man. And it's funny, 2 years ago, O was pitching to Thames in South Korea.
Domingo Santana with 2 outs. This crowd is quiet here at Busch Stadium. One ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout for O, but he gives up the 2-run homer to Eric Thames. And the Brewers are 3 outs away from winning the series and taking 3 of 4 on an 0-2 pitch. Just cleared the wall. 6-4. Call to the pen, his 30th appearance. Very good splitter that he possesses. 0 for 1 in save opportunities, and now the Cardinals trail 6-4 after the 2-run homer by Thames. Aguilar stays in the game. He's at first base.
Brian Anderson, who is the play-by-play announcer for the Brewers, telling us before the game that Drake comes in the game, and that splitter has a tendency to go away from left-handed batters. So it's almost like there's Brian to the right. The Great Bill on the left.
Bill Schroeder.
Right. That was it right there. Split finger.
DeYoung back in the big leagues is 1 for 3 with a single back in the 4th. So he starts with the splitter grip.
Mm-hmm.
One ball and one strike. Chad Huffman is moved to the on deck circle. And the 1-1.
Ooh, devastating. Most splitters are effective when they're out of the strike zone. I know that sounds strange, but it looks like a strike but isn't. The ball just toppling out of the strike zone to DeYoung.
Wants it up in the zone, a fastball, and struck him out. And the first man retired here in the home half of the ninth. Chad Huffman will be the pinch hitter. So 1 out, nobody on. And the first pitch is a strike. Oh, and 2 the count. Index finger on the seam or right above it. The splitter again did not go, says Laz Diaz.
Again, it may be stating the obvious, but that seam on the ball is used by most pitchers for leverage. See that index finger Dan was talking about right on the seam.
Here's a 1-2. Strikeout of Huffman. Back-to-back strikeouts.
That's such an effective pitch when you get hitters thinking about the split finger, and then all of a sudden you throw a fastball 90 miles an hour and it looks like it's about 400 miles an hour.
Yeah. Watch it, Koji Uehara against the Cardinals on that Sunday night.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's a great example.
He's hitting 88 and it looks like 108.
Yeah.
So 2 outs and a 2-run lead now for the Brewers. The Cardinals' hottest hitter, Carpenter, at the plate. He's been on base 3 times. Eric Thames is our Budweiser player of the game. On an 0-2 pitch, it was up, off the top of the wall, and over the wall. And his second home run in the series. One ball and 1 strike on Carpenter.
One of the interesting things is, had that ball not been a home run, and it was barely a home run, just eking over the ball, it hits over the wall, but it hits the wall and bounces back, and Aguilar's the runner. So Craig Counsell didn't run for him. He's at first base, probably wouldn't have scored.
Agreed.
kind of a moot point now because it was a home run. But if it wasn't, with 2 outs, could have been a very big play in this game.
1-2 the count, no doubt. Aguilar not fleet of foot.
No.
The Brewers 1 strike away from taking 3 of 4. Carpenter in the air and out of play. You think about the split finger, you think, at least here in St. Louis, the great Bruce Sutter. Then you think about 1982, Gorman Thomas striking out and swinging through for the final out of the World Series, a fastball.
Bruce.
Engine number 42. The shift on again for Carpenter, and the 1-2 puts it in play. A fly ball out to left, and this should do it. The Brewers come to St. Louis and take 3 of 4. They hold on for a 6-4 win. But a tough late innings game again that the Cardinals cannot capitalize, and they drop it late with the 2-run homer.
That's 3 in a row. Similar games, all 3.
Yep. Well, it's on to the post-game show. A lot of baseball to tell you about, not just here at Busch, but across the major leagues. Post-game show is next.